Greetings from Vermont in the United States. My name is Tim Johnson, and my book is called Shuihu Revisited. Many years ago, when I was studying Chinese in Taiwan, I read the classic novel Water Margin in translation, and I enjoyed it. And I hoped that one day I'd be able to read it in the original. After a year and a half of diligent study in Taiwan, I moved to Hong Kong for 3 months, and there I bought a 2-volume set of the same novel in Chinese, Shuihu Zhuan is the title, with an accompanying a glossary. And at that point, I was ready to read it in the original. But it was time to leave, so I shipped the books home. Back in the States, my life took a turn, and I abandoned my Chinese scholarship. I fell into a career as a daily newspaper journalist, and these books sat on shelves gathering dust for 45 years. After I retired, I picked one of the books off the shelves and opened it for a look, and I was astonished that I could recognize many of the ideographs, or others were dimly familiar, and I realized I could read this original with difficulty and with help from the glossary. It might take forever, but so what? I just turned 70 and I had nothing better to do. So I set about reading some every day. And several months into the exercise, I got the urge to write about it. But how to do it? I made some false starts, but finally I settled on a format that I'd used as a reporter for long-form newspaper stories, narrative alternating with context. In this case, the backbone would be Shuihu's narrative, an adventure story set in 12th century China, when China was the most advanced civilization in the world. And the context would be commentaries I do about interesting facets of that society: Taoist alchemy, wall writing, tattoos, and interesting things about the literary facets to the text, and in counterpoint, some of my own misadventures in Taiwan. A reader could either take the whole package or ignore the commentaries, which were indented in their own typeface, and just focus on the story. And what a story it is. A picaresque saga of injustice and rebellion and betrayal and seduction and mayhem, following a bunch of stalwarts and eccentrics who band together as robbers to defy corrupt officials. My version is mostly a translation with some paraphrases that tries to stay true to the original. But with all the commentaries, my version of Shuihu is a bit of an odd duck, part epic, part pastiche, part memoir. Who's going to read something like that? I wasn't thinking of that audience question over the 5 years that I wrote it. I wrote it just for my own satisfaction, and I was oblivious to the publication prospects. But in the end, those prospects looked rather dim. Only a publisher who thinks outside the box would be likely to take a serious look at my unconventional book. And Proverse is such a publisher, I think, because I've received serious consideration in the annual prize contest. So that's my story, or as they say in Hong Kong, 原來係咁嘅. So again,